Welcome, revelers. It's Off the Rails, Right versus Left. That's the podcast that we do because we think the left is evil and everybody needs to know it. Today, looks like the guys are running a little late here, so I'm going to go ahead and start the show because I got to get back to making money. In the meantime, you guys can help me out with that. Make sure to like, make sure to share, and make sure if you're watching on YouTube that you sign up on one of the other platforms to follow us to make sure that you're able to get notifications in the event that YouTube starts blacklisting us again, because we don't always talk about stuff that they like. Today we're going to be talking about Starship and what SpaceX has going on, and we're also going to talk about the majority of it's going to be talking about Bill Gates and what he's up to. Going back to some comments that he made sometime in the past, and kind of how everything he's doing is kind of falling in line to look a little nefarious, in my opinion, and I kind of want to know what you guys think about that. So, the show is going to start right now. All right, welcome, revelers. This is Off the Rails, Right versus Left, the podcast that we do because we think the left is evil. I'm Rob B.
And I'm Brad Lee.
And I'm Brian G.
And we are Off the Rails, Right versus Left. Again, we're doing this show because we think everybody needs to know that the left is
Classic.
All right, so we're going to get started with something that wasn't even in the topic line. It was something that I kind of just noticed right before I got started here, and that was this Donbas Dievishka. So this is kind of funny to me. So I'd never heard of this girl, but it's kind of funny. So she was this girl supposedly from Donbass, supposedly a Russian Jew from Donbass, and she had a big social media presence. They kept stomping her out because she was raising money for Russia. This is the girl right here. So, and it was kind of like her whole thing was her and her cat versus the world. Okay. So it's kind of really, really dumb. But what's really silly about it is anybody who speaks Russian should know that for a grown woman to be called Yevishka is kind of demeaning, because it literally would be like a little girl or kind of like a floozy. So for her to refer to herself that way is kind of interesting. But it turns out that's because she's not actually Russian. Her accent was completely fake. She's a 37-year-old divorcee named Sarah Bills. She lives in New Jersey. And she actually served in the U.S. military. And interestingly, she's still been raising money for the Russians. So, yeah, I don't know. That kind of sounds a little on the treasonous side since we are backing the Ukrainians. But I don't know what you guys think. Feel free to jump in the comments and let me know what you think about that. So, also, sorry about that. So trying to get Brian to hurry up and join us here. So also we had SpaceX today. We were supposed to talk about it, but it was supposed to be talking about a launch. But the launch has been delayed. It's going to be at least 48 hours so they can recycle. So even their launch window for tomorrow isn't going to be able to work because they called it off too late. So now they have to recycle completely. So it's going to be another 48 hours. But I thought it was kind of cool because they keep talking about how it's the most powerful rocket ever made. So I think that's kind of cool. But I wanted to do some size comparisons for the largest rocket that we were ever using. So this is the Starship right here. So of course you can see the giant rocket that it's sitting on, and the actual Starship sitting on the top there. It really looks kind of cool. And of course it's got the black heat shielding on one side, and the other side is going to be the stainless steel that we've all seen and I think it looks like so space age. So that's kind of a comparison of what it looks like next to the shuttle and its rocket. But of course, this is just the Starship. next to the launching platform for the space shuttle. But if you put the two launching platforms side by side, it kind of looks like that. So there you can kind of see like how big it is. It's not actually, it doesn't look like it's as big as the one that they're building for the Orion program, but like pretty close. Well, when you have the actual Starship on there, it's a lot bigger. But you can see much more massive than the rocket that they were using to launch the space shuttle into space. So it's really kind of cool. I wish Brian was here because this was like his topic that he wanted to talk about. But it's kind of cool. So what happened today is they had a pressure problem. And so unfortunately they had to scrub the launch. So hopefully we'll be revisiting the topic in a couple days. Hopefully they actually get the launch going, because as Elon Musk keeps saying, this is the first step to colonizing Mars. And
Amen.
I can't wait. Hey, and there he is. So I was just talking about the scrub of the launch of the
Mars.
Starship today.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I heard the very
so
end of it.
I thought, yeah,
very
it's just kind of a bummer that we got scrubbed. Yeah, it's just like, it sucks that it got scrubbed today because of the pressure problem. So they're gonna have to recycle for 48 hours. So hopefully we get a launch, what, Wednesday, and then we'll actually have something exciting.
Well, I
to
thought
talk
it was
about
a frozen valve.
Well,
yeah,
I
they're
mean, it was
hoping
causing a
sometime in the
pressure
next
problem.
2 or 3 days.
That's all the reporting says, that there was a pressure problem. So, but they say they got to fix now, but they got to recycle, so they can't use tomorrow's window.
Yeah, when I read it this morning with the New York Times, they said it had to do with the frozen valve, and they had to scrub it in the next 2-3 days. They'll look at launching again.
Yeah, they do have a window scheduled for tomorrow, but they can't recycle that fast, so it's kind of like, eh. But did you get to see the like pictures that I put up here? We had like the
that's
the whole setup that's ready to go down there.
Yeah,
and then the comparison to the shuttle.
Yeah, basically you could stand the shuttle up in the cargo bay. It's so huge.
It doesn't look like, well, maybe if you took the wings off.
Yeah, yeah, just about it.
So, which I think that's what they did when they were moving it around on Earth, wasn't it? Didn't they take the wings off of it?
I'm not sure.
Like after they retired them, I know when they were flying it from like the East Coast to the West, from the East Coast to the West Coast, they were using I think it's 747 or 737. It was specially modified to sit on top of it.
Well,
it's actually kind of cool because the plane is sitting over here at the Space Center Houston.
Yeah, did we talk about the size of it? Other than the pictures?
I mean, just the comparison, like, it's massive.
I know, and it's still hard to really fully understand how big that is. I mean, it's approximately 390
you mean like actual dimensions?
It's about 390 feet tall. You know how?
So that's like, it's more than a football field.
Well, how tall is one floor in a building? About 10 feet?
Yeah.
So that's almost a 40-story building.
That's pretty crazy.
Just to get a perspective. Basically 39-story building. So if you went over and looked at a 39-story building, that's how tall that Starship is.
Yeah, how many, for his design for the flight to Mars, how many people was he thinking he can get on him?
Over 100.
That's like insane. Like, what's our biggest crewed mission's been? Like 5?
Yeah. I mean, it just depends on the variants and how much fuel they need to have on it, and but yeah, he's thinking that.
Yeah, because he plans on dropping all the material. Yeah, I know he plans on dropping all the supplies before they actually go in automated missions. So it's exciting. Hopefully, we'll get off this planet soon. So anyway, so onto the fun topic for the day. And actually, I'm going to kind of intro this one. And then for the YouTubers, I'm sorry, we're going to leave because, well, yeah, we're talking about Bill Gates. So I already kind of like have an idea what YouTube would do to us. And before we start this, I want to make sure to say no one who is a part of this channel is suicidal. So if we get Epstein,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Things that are out there, what could cause an excess in a single year of 10 million deaths? Now, clearly a big war could, and a pandemic, natural or created by bioterror. The natural pandemic, the last gigantic one, was 100 years ago. We are healthier today, but the speed of travel.
I love that it had a nice gun advertisement there, like right as the video was playing. That was awesome.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so that was a video of Bill Gates talking about what could kill 10 million people on Earth 4 years ago. I was in early 2019. Funny considering what happened later in 2019, right?
What, the pandemic?
So I couldn't find the actual clip of it, but around this time he was talking about promoting vaccines.
Yeah.
And he said the weirdest thing. He said that the use of vaccines will reduce the population on Earth. Now, how is that?
Well, you think it will help grow the population if saving people. Go ahead.
Right, you would think so. But before we get into what it actually means and where we have the evidence of what it actually means, we're going to have to say goodbye to the YouTube audience because we're not trying to get strikes on there. And you can join us over on Rumble at otrrvl. That's all you got to type in and you'll find our page. And you can follow us anytime we're live streaming, as well as some of the smaller content that we put up as well. So go ahead. We're going to play our outro music for the YouTube broadcast, and we're going to pop back over to Rumble and keep going.